I pēhea ngā whakaro o ngā tāngata e noho ana ki ngā taone. What was the reaction that you got when you were walking through these towns?
Well, I mean, that was the interesting thing for me, that to just disprove this idea that Māori weren't interested in these old issues about land and stuff, that this was hugely important. And just walking from the harbour bridge through to Epsom to Tuanga Waka, I don't know how many hundreds of people just peeled off from doing whatever they were doing and joined in. It was quite astonishing, really.
But I think that the strategy of having Whanakupa lead, you know, she was this seemingly wizened old lady, and so she won over the Conservative bank. And she wasn't any of that. When she stood in the whare every night, I just saw this matriarch. And, you know, her voice roared with conviction and passion. And I think just hearing that, you know, for 4 weeks, every night. And then when she'd finished, she'd just slowly sort of lower her voice, and then she'd started to bend at the shoulders. And it was like, my God, you know, she sort of turns into this.
Ka hoki anō ki tana kuia, tana
ahua.
te kuia.
Ka tini.
He ana kōrero I taua wā I aua pō?
Well, it was more about the fact that there should not be one more acre. Not one more acre of Maori land should be lost. And that it was up to us, and that at the end of this we were going to tell Parliament, and we were going to tell those that were in government to stop doing this. That it's our responsibility. And I mean, there were a lot of young people, I mean, older than me at the time, who were just feeding off this. So,
ki o whakaro, he hae tahi o ngā hua I puta. What were some of the changes, some of the benefits that came out of the hikoi, out of the Land March?
Every year before that, if you went to Waitangi, you would have heard speeches from Prime Ministers like Keith Holyoake and all the rest that said New Zealand was the happiest multiracial society in the world. We were so harmonious here. We didn't need a Race Relations Act, because if you had a Race Relations Act, that would assume you had a race relations problem. And we didn't have a problem like that. You know, we were the happiest and most harmonious society in the world. And Māori were really happy. You know, they laughed at all the jokes, didn't they? You know, and they drove bulldozers and that sort of stuff. And that was all blown apart just by the conscientising of people rising out of the Land March. And so I think from that time on, it wasn't there were just one or two discontents. It was recognised that there's some issues for our whole nation to confront, and the past is with us. And are we going to keep going the way we have and just be self-contented about being so happy and harmonious when actually there was a lot to be looked at?
Engari, ko tēnei hikoi te timatanga, ne? Ina kaore tēnei hikoi tū, ko tino rereke a Aotearoa, koina wā koutou? Is that what you'd say, that New Zealand would be quite different if we hadn't had this hikoi?
Oh, definitely. I think it became a different place after the hikoi.
And it was really noticeable to you because you'd been away and come back. So in what ways was it different, this consciousness that you're talking about?
Well, I think we had to take things seriously. I mean, people started occupying land. People who were on that land march went home. And then you started to see activity. Lots of friendships that are lifelong. Lots of creativity. There's lots of waiata and poetry and films and stuff that came out about our history from, I believe, from the Land March.
What did you hear about it in London at that point?
Well, we'd actually moved on, so I didn't hear much until I came home. And when I came home, things had definitely changed.
How ngā momo mea koe tini here?
Well, basically, when I left, it was a very monocultural place. I was brought up in a school where you were educated in the history that we were taught. I came home and everything had been exposed, I guess. So the injustices had been exposed during the Land March. We had to... How much
longer was that? How long were you away after
I came back in early 1976, so I was away for about 6 months, yeah.
Ka rea no kia kotahi tau, hasn't even been a year, and so you noticed this really marked change.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I had to make some decisions. I mean, I married a Pākehā, you know, and so we'd never looked at, you know, issues. The Land March, I grew up in a little wee town where everyone worked together after the war, everyone was poor, and it was totally different to the urban situation. So came home and there was a real clear divide. There seemed to be a divide, and it wasn't until my mother was arrested in 1978 that I really took a clear line that I had to be pro-Māori. The rest was, the rest was covered.
Hua, one of the fruits of the whole thing was that Maturata, who of course was rather embarrassed by this land march because it was sort of marching against him in a sense because he was part of the government. But he and his secretary, as he was then at the time, Patu Hohepa, they did manage to steer through the Waitangi Tribunal legislation, Treaty Waitangi Act, in the same year, 1975. And Matu took a lot of effort for him to get that through his caucus. The big thing was visibility, I think. That after 1975, Take Māori were visible. And some of the connections made during the course of the march played out over the years as well, and a whole range of other things. For example, the Y262 claim on flora, fauna and Mātauranga Māori. John Hippolyte, your Ngāti Kuata whānau, Tamapuata, Del Wihongi, Sana Murray, those ones, they were part of the connections. Witi McMath, they were part of the connections that arose out of the Land March and the follow-up from the Land March, and then they broadened it out to a whole range of other issues, which are to do with the way the Resource Management Act doesn't work, even though it's supposed to take account of Māori values and so on. And so there's been a constant range of challenges, not just about whenua, but about everything really that makes Te Ao Māori tick, has been able to be brought out in a way that was under the radar before 1975.
I nā te hohunu o te Kete Kōrero mo tēnei kaupapa, so much more to talk about, so we'll be back after the break.